uh, because I noticed that this is not very well charged, and because haven't had it plugged in, because I brought it upstairs the night at fully charged, I think, because I think we were watching it plugged in. It's at 39%. It's probably going to drop pretty quickly, this device, but it is the middle of the night, so I kind of don't want to be rolling too long. That was the other thing I wanted to do quickly. Um, and this device, when when I plug it in, it can be a little bit wonky as to whether it affects the recording. And I wanted to. I felt like I need to do this, so I'll just watch that and try and get out as much as I can now, and we'll go from there. I don't want to be rolling super long because I do want to get back to bed now because that's why I was there. Um, but it was a mixture of my health, my mind, and something that I heard the other day. And it was kind of not touched on very much, and it was kind of um, randomly came up. Um, and I mostly just heard it. It was not really part of the conversation. Um, I don't even know how it came up. I was so not part of it. I had gotten up from the table I was at, and I don't actually know what I was doing. I don't remember that. And then I heard a couple things said. Not much, nothing, hugely deep or whatever. But sorry, I know that I'm gonna just trying to. Okay, but this could be, and so I'm gonna try and do it quick now. With my neuropathy, um, it may be beneficial for me to move around while I'm doing this, but I don't know how much I want to do that. And honestly, I've also found that sometimes it's not, and actually sometimes it's more uncomfortable too. But I just wanted to, I'm not doing the additional setup thing for the scrollers just because I'm not planning to roll along. And like I say, it's kind of the middle of the night. I'm very tempted because I think it was at, what was that? Early 30 something. It's already at 26%. I'm very tempted to plug this in, but I, I hit, go live, and I appreciate YouTube storage. I hit go live pretty quickly, and I was coming down the stairs, and before I got it plugged in, it was rolling. So anyway, I was thinking about also something else I experienced somewhat recently, uh, but that might be a little too specific, might kind of give away something. I do apologize for the lighting, by the way, and I guess some people might be bothered by that if that helps. The screen, okay, good, of the laptop. If they can't see my eyes, but I mean, my eyes haven't been awake very long yet, so it probably ain't, Anyway, um, I'm so thankful to have this platform because figuring find because finding out where else to get the message out about anything or just to have an outlet is sometimes not as easy as it should be. This is dropping. I'm just gonna try and roll a bunch of stuff off with the chat glitch that's been live chat glitch that I've been noticing, and that I do want to get back to bed. Um, it's just my symptoms were flaring slightly. My mind was starting to speak, and I feel like I'm meant to be doing this, so here I am. I don't like the feeling of rushing it though. I'm really glad with the title, and I'm just gonna really rattle off a few things really quickly, so that I can get back to bed, and not worry about having to plug this in and it making it go, making the video go quality, um, yeah, making it like not record properly. Um, so basically, um, whether you are someone that fits this topic or are trying to still love and support and accept someone, that's actually the first part. And it's interesting too, is love. But it's deeper than that. Um, I overheard someone say, um, a bit of a strong word connected to this. Again, I haven't then, and I'm still not saying, you know, how or why this resonates with me. Um, Point of the matter is, and I think I'm going to have to plug this in and hope that it doesn't conk because it's now at 16%, and I don't think I can speak that fast. Yeah, I pre-thought a little bit of it up, so it's, but now it's 15%. Let me just do this. Sometimes it's not a problem. If I keep touching the screen, no, that didn't work. Okay, but that's fine, and we got one person here. Um, I don't know if it's going to keep dropping because I'm rolling and it's charging. It might not. Just need to take a drink of water. Sorry, it was too slow for you. Like, okay, what's he going to say after he has his drink of water? I could be saying this out of the fact. Oh, I'll put this back on so it's a bit more brightness. I could be saying this out of the fact of relating to it. I could be saying this out of empathy, and just simply giving it some thought. But either way, the thoughts are pretty much the same. I would say. Um, there was somebody that briefly go on. Yeah. Um, Basically, it's this. Somebody was to say that, um, if you're struggling to get this kind of thing, nobody's telling you you have to be such, but to have the understanding of love, I think, is important. I know it is actually. Um, I thought a little bit about what I wanted to say. I did a little, and like I say, this could just be coming out of a place of understanding and empathy. Uh, and I'm just trying to, you're welcome to put chat if it's, respectful and on topic. Sometimes I'm a little bit more random, but that's always, kind of important. But I do want to get back to bed soon. And I might even check out some online groups just to get people's opinions about this, and maybe they'll know about this too. But for right now, I'm just doing this here because, even if I did have other platforms, other, like, you know, opportunities to do speaking presentations or whatever it is, I'm not doing it at 5 in the morning when these thoughts are, coming to me, and usually I'm actually sleeping. But um, yeah, he might be here. I'm trying not to be that loud. Sorry. I said it after all. But anyway, basically, I think I've already said a really important part. What's important. You know, when you're looking at, you know, this kind of topic. Well, and most topics, honestly, in life. But I would like to gather opinions. I mean, for the most part, like I want to gather answers to a specific question. And in a way, I sometimes do that often, but I kind of don't. And the question is, and I do feel like it's more for a certain community, but you're welcome to listen and may benefit from doing so anyway, even if you're not in that community. And the person left up another two here was going to say, well, I'm not in any communities. Well, you're on the YouTube community, right? And again, I'm just trying to fly through this. You're welcome to comment if it's on topic and respectful, like I say, but I'm not going to spend a lot. And it's been wonky whether it shows up to me or not anyway. So afterwards, though, but anyway, basically, thanks for the like, by the way. Um, basically, okay, I'm just trying to kind of figure out where I was going with my thoughts there. There's three of you here. I appreciate it. Um, two of you, either way, I still appreciate it. One of you, no, just kidding. But no, seriously, maybe the two of you that are here right now while this is rolling alive are meant to be here. I always look at it that way, for the most part, even when I'm watching stuff. But basically, the concept, the thought that I'm trying to express eloquently, maybe not succeeding, but whatever, is, well, if you are in the community, and now it looks like everybody might watch it, but maybe that's inaccurate, because one person liked, but maybe the phone died, maybe they're just like showing support. I don't know. Maybe they went and were able to look at the title of this video. I don't know. Anyway, point of the matter is the like's still there. I appreciate it. And if you are in the community, now I'm hesitant because this is a channel that two of us use in the home, and the other person is older. I wouldn't necessarily say old-fashioned, but older. But he's a person with lots of love in his heart. He's a person that tries to understand people, even though he might have opinions that contradict. But and that's actually pretty normal, really. Um, he may not need the conversation as much as others, but if he doesn't have a comment or decides he doesn't want to give one, maybe that's where I'll chime in. Basically, first I want to start with a question to those that are in that community that I'm thinking about right now, and I want you to give as honest an answer as you can. Um, if you are trans, I think it's well known actually that people that are trans usually transition because they're not happy being who they are, or they're not happy with a large component of who they are. It was interesting actually. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that because I'm sitting right now. We had four, now three. Anyway, however, and it's still at 50%. However, um, maybe more for the non-binary people. Part of me wants to just simply ask, be brave, safe space. Uh, um, try and keep it as such. But what is um, what what was your reason for choosing to be or looking into it, and two, was one of those reasons being unhappy with yourself, not liking, because I actually think it might be pretty common. And so I think that we should definitely have understanding and empathy for people who are um, looking at themselves in those categories. It's actually a neat way to put it, because I'm not even talking in the sense of necessary bullies, as much as I'm saying life in general may not have been, or may have for a long time, for 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 a portion of their life, not been gentle to them, not been kind. And we could say that that happens to anybody, but it happens more to some people. It does. Um, it's not necessarily deserving. It's not right necessarily, but it does happen. And imagine for a moment what that would be like. Imagine for a moment not being able to find your place in the world, perhaps even feeling like you know your strengths, feel like you've been given your strengths and abilities by life and living, by higher power, perhaps, you know, and yet you're not able to get where you want to with it. Can you imagine how that would feel? Just it's a hypothetical thing, you know, you know that I'm speaking about pretty passionately and amazingly, yeah. But anyway, can you imagine how that would feel? Really, it shouldn't be that hard to, even if you don't really relate to it, you know, and mix that in with someone who maybe, for whatever reasons, or not many reasons even, has a slight feminine side. I'm learning this because I was in bed and I'm chilly, coming out of bed. But, um, you know, and it's definitely makes a lot of sense, I think. You'd want, you're either going to have, we don't usually in this thing, you're either going to have personality disorder, and I wouldn't say they're the same thing. Um, there may be similar components, but or you're going to have a, um, a hard time or struggle defining yourself. You're going to have, um, you're going to look at your options. You may not want surgery, understandable, but you're going to look at, you know, oh, hello, good morning, how are you? Must just be delayed in saying that there's somebody watching. Were you here a few moments ago? It is early. I do want to try and get back to bed. My health symptoms weren't really letting me. My head wasn't really letting me. And I don't know how long you've been listening for, but welcome. Good to see you again. I do live with somebody else in the home, and I don't want to keep them awake for very long because they might be awake wondering, when am I coming back upstairs and what's going on? Why am I not sleeping? But I do think he's starting to sense that I'm dealing with some health issues, and that's a big part of it. Yes, I posted a few live streams the other day because my plans were earlier in the day for the most part. So I I had the evening to kind of and mostly it went well. There's nothing much to talk about it, but it did kind of inspire this, to be honest. Like I say, it was just I don't even know how the topic came up. I just kind of heard a couple things said on it, and it stuck with me. That's really what it is. I hope you've had a good one as well, though. I don't have really any other plans. I'm just looking forward to the new year. And I think I'm not going to chance it. I know I wanted to talk with Kat about that, but I think I'm not going to chance contacting Elizabeth before the new year. She hasn't stated whether she's screening, and I don't know when they celebrate Christmas. But it's kind of like, you know, she said in the new year, even though we're past Christmas, she might be being very literal about that, and some people would say, well, if she's being that literal and that particular, but it's kind of like there could be some great opportunities for me if I listen and follow her request. So and that's important. Like this, what I was saying a little earlier. You know, I don't know if I could find somebody who would relate to it any more than that, but maybe to the same level. But what I was saying earlier, I mean, it does resonate sometimes, some of it. Maybe a lot of it. I'm not specifying, and that's fine. Um, Hi, Ayush, how are you? Good to see you as well. But I just want to, and if you were just scrolling live, I mean, I don't know. Lord, you subscribed, I believe, although I didn't, it must have been probably subscribed for some reason. I don't know why people do that, but thank you. Um, and so you may have just been notified and may have actually seen the topic. Ayush, were you the second like? I'm thinking so because there's only two here. So you saw the topic then, right? So I've already said some things. I'm really trying not to roll too long, although it is at 25% now in a moment. And so, um, um, it is charging while I'm doing this quite well. I've got four over here, but and honestly, my symptoms are still noticeable. My neuropathy, you know, it's starting to make it hard to even type much. Or the last 2 or 3 days it has been anyway. And it's kind of like, well, you know what? I'm going to use my voice then, like I've been doing anyway as a content creator. I mean, and this is the easiest way, especially at 5 a.m., but kind of sometimes in general, to do it. So here I am. You know what I mean? So, yes, basically, I do feel like it comes from those two things for most people. And I want people to understand that. Again, sorry I'm kind of, like I said, I came from out of bed, it was chilly, and yeah. But I do feel like it comes from those two things: some unhappiness in life, and and having the feminine side. And honestly, for some people, it's probably just the latter. They just are a little feminine and a little masculine. You know. Yes, I know. I'm going to be starting to take vitamins. Yeah, it's when you're sensitive to um, things such as how your hands and your feet are feeling. Like, yeah, I could go back to bed later. I don't know if I'm actually going to get sleep. But again, there is somebody else in the home that's probably thinking, are you coming back upstairs to sleep soon? Or. So I'm going to try to. But yes, that I think we need, I hope that people can have a bit of empathy um, if they're unsure how to accept those individuals who are people as well. I mean, truly, you know, because, yeah, I mean, if you can only imagine, um, if you have some qualities that are just naturally a part of you or that you can't ignore, plus you may be not happy with some areas of life, you're going to look at how do I step out of that? Sure, you could say read a book, watch a movie. Sure, some of us aren't as much into reading books. And maybe we do watch movies, maybe we don't. You know, um, I really think that a lot of people that are considering trans would probably be pretty happy looking at the non-binary option. They'd probably be pretty happy with if they let themselves look into that, because well, it's less. It's not necessarily. It is in a way less to go through the surgery. Um, no, nope, I don't. Um, but caffeine, but that ain't changing. And not much. Not much. Although I've been kind of eating a lot of chocolate and desserts lately, but I'm trying, have a good diet, the vitamins, this and that. Anyway, yes, I'm hoping this is making sense though about the kind of the main topic since I did kind of have one in this. Um, you know, um, and it would have been interesting if that had came up in the conversation the other day. A little awkward, maybe a little bit uncomfortable. And, I was around two, I didn't realize at the time, but two kind of religious people, and no offense to them. I don't know what your first name is, by the way, but, you seem pretty cool. But, and they probably would have said, well, if you're unhappy, give it to the Lord. This is where I go to. It's a great big world full of a lot of people, whether they believe or not. Some of them. The Lord's a little busy. And actually, I've tried, you know, and other people have too, I'm sure. And it's like, and I'm not going to say that the Lord isn't working for me in some ways, you know, if we want to talk about that for a moment. But I'm not going to talk about it for much. But you know, personally, I feel I've been given talents and abilities, and I try and utilize them here. And sometimes it's noticed and appreciated. A lot of times it's kind of like crickets. Uh, but it's like he's given me these abilities, and for years I've not really been getting very far with them. whether even when I wasn't content creating, it's like, and I'm not sure why. Other than that, I don't drive. I'm not sure why. Okay, so this part is a little bit personal. Um, when you drive, it opens up so many more opportunities. But I mean, or when you have a reliable ride, I suppose. But it's not even just that. I think. So I'm at a point in my life where I'm trying to reevaluate. Is there something else I should be focusing on? I think it definitely involves using my speaking and my singing. Um, Other than that, and the things that are a part of me are a part of me and always will be. And I don't think that any of us should let our inner sparks die. The things that have always been a passion to us. It's hard for it not to kind of happen sometimes, but it's quite an uncomfortable feeling. You know, when you're worried, what is your health doing to you? You know, how long do you have to live? What is your what is your what are you meant to do with your life? You know, and how do you do it? Right? So as I was kind of alluding to earlier, I've met someone. She's kind of just getting into filmmaking. She's not that old, I don't think, mid 40s or whatever. But and she has another job, but she was looking for something to do on the side. A hobby, something. I think she said her kids had moved out, and she was looking for something to do um, outside of work. Sometimes people go a while and they don't have hobbies. I can understand if you have goals towards your hobbies and you're not reaching them, you might not want to have them as much. Um, and a lot of people, they do. They read books, they spend time on the internet. But anyway, and she also might know some people who may be available before the new year. But I'm not going, I almost kind of already did, but she looked past it, and that was a little bit before Christmas. But she says that we'll connect in the new year, and I'm going to wait to do that. What I might need suggestions for is how to make that easier. Like, I thought maybe I need to think of some of the things I would like. I have the general ideas, but I would like to work on, film wise. But it's like, I'm needing the inspiration. And I think this is part of it. I also, like, I don't think I'm going to be passing away next week. I mean, I suppose I don't know, but I mean, I don't think I am. But, but this is where I can at least do the YouTube and just kind of randomly or not as randomly come and talk and get some ideas out there, right? Um, and I know one of the things that I did say to her, one of the few areas that I mentioned, and there was others, but was that finding self. And we all relate to that, don't we? We all relate to that need, that inner need, that it's such an important thing to do. And there's different ways you can do it, and it means different things to everybody. It also means a lot of similar things to everybody. But what I'm especially looking forward to is taking some of the ideas that or things that I've been working on, and with my own, and with the help of her and whoever else I might meet, but as a collaborative thing, um, making them into, raw is fine and simple is fine, essentially say the same thing, but making them into a bit more of a, I don't want to say movie, but you know, a bit more pizzazz to them, for lack of a different word, right? Um, but again, it's a collaborative thing I want to do. If anybody is interested in working with me on that before the new year comes along, I know it's not far away, but you know, I'm available. Yeah, that would be lovely. Um, and yeah, it's kind of like Um, I wish the thing charged a little bit faster because it's gonna drop. Yeah. So that's I wanted you. I wanted to speak about that. And just kind of like, can you imagine if you had a few traits that may not be characteristically your birth gender, and then you also had some unhappiness with your life? Doesn't it make so much sense then that you would think maybe I should be the other gender? Or at least kind of? Like, doesn't that make a lot of sense? So, and I think I know that when we can make sense of something, it's easier to understand, right? We have to take the time to do so. We have to, yeah, put a little effort in sometimes. And it can mean, everything, thing. But it can mean that the people that we've been given as our family and friends can remain that. You know, try not to be wishy-washy. Also, you know, what I know it can be hard. People have their sensitivities. We don't always know them ahead of time, but I think that's where it's good to, if you don't know what to say in person in the moment, don't say it. Wait, think about it later. You can always come back and say something later, or online. But it's like, and kind of get a sense of who you're talking to. When I think of a certain person saying to a certain person randomly, little brother, when they came up non-binary, um, I know that the only reason that didn't bother the person was because they do largely identify as masculine, but not totally. And that's why it did bother them. And it's been like a flip flop, I guess. But when you're stepping into something new and you're trying to kind of find your path that way, it feels like a step back to make that kind of statement. Even if the rest of your reaction was supportive, it's like it invalidates it, doesn't it? So anyway, I think that the one or two people that we have here listening are understanding what I'm saying. I appreciate you listening. Um, I'd like to talk more with, again, I don't know your first name, but I'd like to talk more with Lord for the Lord, um, and about the neuropathy as well. But yeah, feel free to put your comments after this video is posted as well. Just because something isn't currently rolling live doesn't mean that the conversation, you know, has stopped. And if I've missed any comments, I'm sorry. I know there hasn't been a lot of them, but YouTube's doing that lately, I think. Anyway, got it off my chest. I don't really need to talk about the water situation. But I just hope that I'll be able to. So if I was to ask one question to anybody, like to the person, for instance, that said that they deal with um, neuropathy, and I don't know how far along. I know that I've been feeling it on and off for a while, but like the past almost 2 weeks, it's been consistent. I have a doctor's appointment early in January. I really to get I'll talk about some of this with him. He's not going to have a lot of time, but really it's to get a prescription for vitamins for health reasons. I think that's why most of us would take them, but then some people are maybe taking them just because they feel like it's a way to be healthy, get something they might be missing, but they're not feeling symptoms. I'm feeling symptoms, and it's not very comfortable. So, and apparently my insurance coverage will cover it with a pharmacy receipt. So, one of my relatives had suggested that there's drinkable vitamins, which is a little bit more appealing because it's not like a pill, but it's going to be like I mean, not that I don't do sweets sometimes, but also a lot of sugar. It's going to be very, um, um, Like I don't drink a lot of juice. It's good to be just like sweet water, and I'm not gonna like it. Um, yeah, I thought about that, and get rid of some of the stuff that's been building up, maybe. Um, yeah, I'm planning to do more research and simply, like I say, just start taking them. I was able to get some from someone I was with the other day. I think they're just a tiny little gel cap thing, but yeah, um, whether I get more than one or multiple. And, the thing is, it might not be fully covered. So, it's going to be when is a nice weather day to get it. And then I do have some money. I mean, I would not really want it, but my health is important. I can't do anything to my life. I can't take my life as frustrating as it sometimes is, and or disappointing. I'm hoping for a great new year for me and for everybody, and it's just not something I can do. So I'd rather live as comfortably as I can. You know what I mean? Um, Panel is an interesting word, but yeah. But as far as like tonight, because I'm not gonna go in with this tonight, and part of me, like, I know what I'm dealing with. I know the health issues. I'm uh, you know. So it's like, what do I do then? You know, aside from vitamins, like I think I took one a little bit before bed, which was actually like 6 or 7 hours ago. Aside from vitamins, I know maybe certain movements or stretches. I don't know, because basically the other thing is I want to get myself feeling like when I go back to bed in a few moments, I'm going to be able to actually sleep, and I can sleep in, thankfully. The sky's a funny kind of dark but white color. Like I'm feeling behind my knees, and they feel um, not puffy necessarily. Maybe I just have my legs are in good shape. I don't know, but they feel a little bit soft but hard at the same time, if that makes sense. Right behind, and yeah, it's the lower legs. Sometimes it's the feet and the hands. Right now, it's more the lower legs and my throat. I mean, even before I started doing this video. But yeah, if there's anything you can suggest that I can do aside from taking maybe another vitamin to maybe get myself more able to sleep, that would be great. Please, doctor. Just kidding. You don't have to be a doctor, of course, right? You've lived with it, so and it almost sounds like you don't now. So I mean, that's interesting. Um, um, I've got some thoughts out, so I'm happy about that. And I'd really be curious what your thoughts are on that specific topic, because I feel like we have been talking more about the health thing, you and I. And I still don't know. Maybe you don't want to tell me your first name. That's okay. I understand this is the internet. I'm not really saying mine either, so it's okay. I'll tell you it starts with a C, and that's about it. But, I'd like to. As you get more comfortable with people, you kind of want to do that. But it's not just you and I talking, right? So, one thing I am going to do is put on some socks because I'm noticing my feet are a bit chilly. Hopefully, they don't get warm too quickly. If you can make some suggestions quickly, that would be great. No pressure. Or maybe I should quickly look it up. Box breathing helps with it. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say it's restlessness. It's more the physical sensations. Maybe a little bit of restlessness, but it's more the. And I've heard of box breathing, but I otherwise don't know what it is. Uh, I might not be getting much sleep without me up there. Although you might be onto something there. Like, I don't want to spend a lot of time looking because I've already been rolling for 40 minutes. It doesn't feel like it, but it kind of does. But one thing that stands out here is um, like kind of finding your, you know, like doing things like breathing, meditation, those kind of things, and just kind of, you know, trying to regulate the body. Um, Next time I like how you word that. Um, Going back to sleep, I hope to. Also a shower, and if you flip on the cold water for about, yeah, it would only be 30 seconds because I'd be like, oh, that's cold, But it can help reset and relax. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna hop in the shower right. If I need to, I will. Um, I've heard that warm baths are actually not great for it, but I have a bit of a daily routine and I kind of appreciate it. Although when I had, well, mostly my thumb and kind of my hand, when I had it in the bath the other day, it actually felt better not in. But that was the first time I'd really noticed that, especially since having the symptoms a bit more actively the past couple of weeks. And I don't know if it's me, like the laptop's in front of me, but I feel more pale. But otherwise, seem fine. But yeah, a shower would probably wake me up too much. Um, but um, but but I get what you're saying, and I'll keep it in mind. But I think what I'm going to try is just going back to bed. Sometimes even with the racing mind, sometimes it's just something to try, and it doesn't always work. That's for sure, right? But just kind of like breathing, focusing on the breathing. I do have a foot movement that I don't think is too distracting to the other person, where it's kind of like you just kind of like, you know, uh, bend your feet up and down or circle them. Um, yes, my bones cracked a little bit, and that's nothing new either. I've had probably bad bone density for a long time. But anyway, I'm gonna go do those things. Hopefully, sleep. I really appreciate you being here and chatting. I'll roll again tomorrow, so feel free to come and check. And yes, you haven't said you haven't said much about the other topic. I know you're curious to get to know me, and I appreciate that we're chatting. If you can think of some nice things to say, I'd love to hear it on that. And I appreciate your other suggestions. And to the other person that just tuned in, you can come back to the beginning of this or check out some of the other lives, find what speaks to you, comment on it, or chat. But I am going to wrap up now. I honestly am kind of tired too. So, anyway, like I say, so take care, everybody. Thanks again for your time and watching and your interest and all that stuff. Don't forget to like if you haven't, and bye for now.